Hello, dear friends, and we are very glad to welcome you once again on ALLATRA TV Middle East. And we are very lucky to have and to host a special guest today, an amazing and inspiring woman, a well-being coach, counselor, and business coach from Australia. We brought a dozen of critical and important questions about well-being, mental health, cooperation, and healthcare in a creative society, and so many more. So please help me in welcoming in our show Annette Parker. Hello, Annette. Thank you so much for accepting our invitation and sharing this moment with us. How are you?
So much. Thank you so much for having me. It's an absolute honor. I absolutely adore the work that you're doing. So I feel very privileged to be here. Thank you. And hello, Sammy.
Hello, Annette. Hello, our viewers. Today, our visit is in another continent, beautiful Australia. And we are interviewing an amazing, amazing life coach. But before we get started with this exciting interview, some of our viewers might have been watching us for the very first time, and they could have been thinking, what is Creative Society is all about? This beautiful project is a unique project that has been launched on the platform of allatraunites International Public Movement. It's a visualizing and envisioning process of creative society. A society where everyone lives happy, prosperously, and feels safe. In this process, hundreds of people have been carried on interviews and surveys like the one we are having today, over more than 180 countries, collecting information from people how they would envision such society. The outcome of all these interviews and surveys, all these beautiful activities, is forming today what we believe in to be the creative society of tomorrow. Stay tuned during our episode today. Listen to our guest answers, and you will learn so much about this exciting movements. Dear viewers, remember, by watching us, you are already part of our movements. We want to hear your comments, questions on the live chat box, YouTube, and feel free also to address specific questions to our guest today.
Yes, and you know that through this project, we also test a theory of 6 handshakes, according to which, by the way, all the people on Earth know each other through 5 or fewer social connections only. So, our pleasure today is to find out Annette's opinion on personal development in the creative society, because personal development has been a part of her success strategy for over 20 years. Annette consistently worked on aspects of her thinking and emotional intelligence to capitalize on opportunities in order to grow and prosper both personally and professionally. Annette, could you please tell our viewers in a couple of words, what are you doing in life? And also, please share your story. What brought you to the point where you are now and what drives you in life?
Well, as you know, I am a personal development junkie, and I think I would describe myself as a seeker. So from a very, very early age, I read a lot of books, and for me, it was all about self-improvement. So personal development has been part of my strategy, and I've also been a huge advocate in the mental health arena. So I studied counselling as well, and I always wanted to coach. So I felt that psychology and personal development went hand in hand. And I think it should be taught in schools, to be honest, because it is such a liberating mindset, and it is also helping a lot of people now through the COVID crisis as well. So I do think it is really, really important in a creative society to cultivate a more positive and connected mindset with others. So definitely.
I'm sure, Anita, you are living this creative society in your own life, at your own scope, within your decision and within the influence of the people around you. But if you would have to select a society to live in, and you say, well, this is how I would envision such society that I would love to be living in, a society that people love each other, people support each other, and provide each other the comfort life. How would you envision such society?
Sammy, I would envision a society where everybody felt safe, particularly children. I would distribute the wealth evenly, and I would make sure that there was no hungry child in the world. So for me, a creative society, or a society that I feel is perfect in my eyes, is where we are all connected, where we don't see skin color, where we don't see race, we don't have classism, or we don't have stereotyping, because it's these things that separate us. And we now have a chance, particularly through the internet, to be able to connect to more and more people. And with that also comes self-responsibility to actually help those around us. And that starts at home. So definitely something to think about.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
So you're starting from the child growing up to build that perfect society.
Absolutely. I grew up in an environment that was probably not the easiest to grow up in. There was quite a lot of trauma. I had parents that had been involved in World War II. So you have a lot of stress, you have a lot of generational anger, you have a lot of generational stress, sadness, grief. No matter what background you've got, you are going to feel the effects of generations before you. So I think it's really important. I felt it was really important to break that cycle in my own life, and make sure that I was able to overcome trauma and use that strength to be able to help others. So for me, my perfect society is where we can all be of service to others and help others along the way, rather than a society where we have the haves and the have-nots, and there's no equilibrium. We need to bring society together and start capitalizing on equality more. Like we have to stop talking the talk and walk the walk, and genuinely do something, whether it's in your community, your schools, in your home, with other people, when you're having a conversation around the dinner table. We need to really bring awareness of how our society has an opportunity now to connect more than ever. And we have a lot of topics to discuss. We've got climate change. We need to address that very quickly. We've got, children in poverty. And a lot of our children in poverty are getting forgotten as we get too caught up in the whole COVID crisis. So there's a lot of things that we can do just in our immediate environment that will bring about that collective consciousness, I believe, definitely.
Brilliant.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's it's absolutely a very beautiful vision of the creative society, and it corresponds very much to the 8 foundations of the creative society, which we are going to discuss later today. And before we go to that topic, and also everything what you touched is so much crucial for every human being in our society today and a society as whole, because we have like global problems, issues we are facing, like poverty, like climate change. Also, we face a lot of personal issues, like the psychological diseases took the first place between all diseases on our planet today. And to continue our conversation, like we know that personal development has been part of your success strategy for over than 20 years. So could you please share your vision of personal development in the creative society?
Okay, so I see personal development as having a huge impact when it comes to a creative society, because when we're networking, when we're doing this, we're learning from others. So personal development is all about learning about the self and others. So when you start to know for yourself, when you start to open your mind more, when you start to trust your gut more, when you start to open up to the possibilities that are out there, if you just believe it, then you start to open up more to others, and you have more to share with others. You have more personal power, which means that you have the power to empower others as well. So it has a ripple effect. Personal development is so closely aligned to positive psychology, And for me, the lines are really blurred there, because if we can cultivate a positive mindset, if we can keep ourselves, not to say we're not going to have a bad day, we're all here, we all know there's suffering in the world, but if we can keep our little environment in a fairly positive mindset, we have so much more ability to get out there and help others. You've got more energy, you've got more drive, you've got more motivation. It's something that helps you develop empathy and compassion and kindness, because you start to develop those skills towards yourself. And as I said previously, it really does have a ripple effect in life in general, actually.
So this leads us to, because from the personal development comes the personal aspiration. Like today, we all study and work hard and put an effort to earn our living first and then achieve our dream. We all have both personal and professional goals that we prosper to. Now, how do you see that? What would be the goals of the personal development when it comes for contributing to society? How can I create in this creative society? How can we create the balance between me as a person contributing positively into my society, but in the meantime, I am aspired to reach my personal and professional goal? I'm not sacrificing on my personal goal to contribute to community, nor sacrificing with the community goal to achieve my own personal prosperity or achievement.
So what you're asking is, if you are busy in a career, how do you integrate? How do you balance the personal development with the career? I think that just comes down to commitment. You have to, it's like when you exercise the body, you have to exercise the brain. You have to commit to that exercise for half an hour or a day, or an hour a day.
If I may correct the question.
Sorry.
How do you envision a person balancing between achieving his personal and professional goals and still contributing to the society development in this society? The balance between personal and society.
Well, I think to integrate that and get to be able to benefit society, as I said previously, I think it all does start at home. But once you have that confidence, you have the ability to reach out to others. And I think that one of the most important things that we need to do as a creative society, as I see it, is to actually commit to spending time, whether that be working on projects online with someone, whether you contribute to helping out schools, charities. That would be how I would see how I personally, I hope I'm understanding the question properly, but I think that's how I would envision it, that I would be, obviously, to balance that out, I would have to be connecting with a lot of other leaders in the community who do envision a collective society. So you would have to also commit that time. Does that make sense? Does that answer the question, Sammy?
Yes, absolutely.
That's
what I got from you.
And what is interesting is that, first of all, I would like to say that it's it's great, and we can honestly talk about our society, like not being afraid to face difficulties which we have now in the society, not to run away from them, not to trying to build a personal oasis in their world, which is like being destroyed around us, but really to contribute into our society to become flourishing and beautiful, and to face the difficulties which we are having now all together. So from what you said now, I also it's a great vision, because in many cases we think, okay, now I have to do this and to do this and to do this and to do this, and maybe then at the end of the month I will have a little bit of time to do something for the society. But actually, as you said, the balance comes that every day you choose time, then you work, then you train your body, then you commit into development of the society. It will never come spontaneously if you don't plan it, if you don't connect with people right around you.
That's exactly right. And you really need to surround yourself with people who are like-minded. So, you know, getting back to what Sammy said before, like, to be able to integrate everything and have balance, you need to have a mindset that's not going to be overwhelmed by what's going on. There's too many people in society that are leaving it to someone else. Oh, the problem's too big. I can't do anything about it. And if we just focus on ourselves for a while, get ourselves to a stage where our mind is stronger, then we have the ability to help others so much more. So that is where I find personal development incredibly important. I have never been more committed to wanting to be of service to others than since I started on my personal development journey, because it gives me insight, it gives me knowledge, and it gives me confidence to get out there and have a voice, to speak up, to not be afraid to speak up. I mean, you know, doing things like this, I wouldn't have done that a few years ago, but it's feel the fear and do it anyway. We've got a huge project ahead of us. We can do it. And I do believe that we can live in a society that is free from prejudice, and a society where we could all join hands and there is no difference of opinion. It doesn't matter what you believe in or who you believe in, what God you believe in, what color you are. We're all people and we're all connected. And I think that we are actually moving closer towards that. And social media is playing a big part in that. Like, there are negative aspects to social media, but there's so many positives as well. I mean, look at us today having a chat from across the world. And, you know, hopefully there's someone out there that may say, well, you know, this has given me enough inspiration to get out there and go and help my local charity or volunteer at a school. So
absolutely. It's such a powerful message. Thank you so much. Thank you, Annette, for sharing. And let's touch the topic of technology. We know that you have studies in information technology. And now you are helping people to feel well and wealthy and healthy. How do you see technology in the future serving people?
Wow, that's a huge can of worms, that one. I worked back in IT. I started out this is showing my age, but it was in the late 90s. And so I was working for a very large global IT advisory company in client services. And then I went in to do an IT traineeship. So I was in an operational capacity. So I have seen all facets of IT, and my goodness, it changes so quickly. So very, very hard to keep up with. We know that artificial intelligence is coming. Well, it's pretty much here. So how I see technology impacting us in the future is it's going to have a lot of positive connotation to it, a lot of positive aspects, because here we are doing this is technology. You know, obviously I worry about the wastage. And so what I'm hoping is that we can make IT a little bit more sustainable so that there's less waste. And I think we are heading towards that. Things are getting smaller. So, you know, less waste is very good for a better society and for the climate. And I do see technology playing a huge role, because how can we do without it now? So we have to keep moving forward.
What's exciting is that with these conversations, some can feel that we are talking about something that does not exist. And how can our conversations here make such society exist? What people don't know is once we talk about our dreams with like-minded people, it's actually happening. And
Yes.
The technology is actually ahead of us. It's just that, are we using it in the right way or not? And with the development of advancement of technology comes the very interesting question. Today, world, before the COVID-19 pandemic, the world was in complete competition.
Yeah.
Like-minded people are always competing on the cake. We are coaches, trainers. We are always trying to win that training deals. When it comes for companies of the same field, they're all competing. But after the pandemic, we noticed a change in the trend. The competitors became collaborating so that they can survive and they can thrive and they can no longer fight. They have to put joint forces together. And it's like the world is telling us this is how it should be from the beginning. And this is leading me to the question for you. If you would, while you are envisioning this beautiful creative society, how do you see it in between collaboration versus competition? Between trainers, between companies, between individuals, between families, between siblings? Do you see more competition or collaboration? How do you see that aspect?
I think that there will be more I envision more collaboration because I'm actually seeing it now. I'm fairly active on LinkedIn. There's a lot of business owners. There's a lot of startup business, a lot of technology on there. And I'm seeing people collaborate. I'm seeing people support. And it doesn't matter if they're competitors, they're actually boosting each other, they're promoting each other's services, and it's working really, really well. Now, why didn't we see that before? I don't know. And unfortunately, sometimes it takes a tragedy for people to actually sit down and take a good look. The topic of emotional intelligence now is becoming a buzzword. Now, 20 years ago, if you were in an environment, just particular, maybe a sales environment, if you weren't aggressively going out there and selling and really, really pushing yourself on people, you weren't classed as a good enough salesperson. Whereas now people are starting to realize they don't want to buy from an aggressive salesperson. They want to buy from someone that they know, like, and trust. So I see a lot of positives coming through from what I've witnessed, that I think there will be more collaboration in the future. And I think we've already seen the world coming together through this pandemic. We've seen so many positives. People are getting online, they're sharing their stories, they're helping others, and they're becoming more real, which is a great thing to see. So I think collaboration is the way of the future.
Absolutely. And as you described now, both of you, it is happening spontaneously already now. And it is so much important to focus on bringing it forward as examples for all of us, how we should really act, how we should unite, how we should collaborate, and what gives it back to an individual and to the society or to a community. And like being active online nowadays, we see that it gives us a huge potential to meet many people of the same mindset. We grow, we really develop, and all together we start to create something which is really helpful and very beautiful. And just to continue this topic, I would like also to ask you, from your point of view, what should be a corporate environment in order people could grow personally and professionally, as we spend so much time working
in the corporate environment, sorry?
Yeah.
In the corporate environment, I'm also seeing some really big wins of people I follow on LinkedIn that are quite successful in the change management arena. I think that we are going to move forward quite dramatically. I think there's going to be less tolerance to classism. There's definitely, I know myself from being in corporate for over 20 years, there's always a hierarchy. And I think that the leaders were always out of touch with the people, the workers down the bottom. We're abolishing that little by little, and more people are choosing for themselves to say, you know what, I don't want to work in that environment anymore. And because of that, people are starting to take note. Companies are starting to take note. And now, because of what's going on in the world, they've been forced to actually stop and take stock of where they're at and how they're going to treat their staff in the future years. So I don't really believe that we can go backwards from here. I do believe it's all going forwards. And
In
that's
fact,
great. Yeah.
You're absolutely right, Annette, because one of the biggest real estate developers in UAE called Amar had actually moved a transformational step in their business by removing all job titles from the chairman. The chairman is called by his first name, and there is no staff that has any title. They don't have any director of manager. They don't have any directors of any position. Everyone is called by a nickname, and that's it. And they are divided into teams, and they announced it. It's amazing how such change is taking place. People are now working towards collaboration than positioning, and exactly how you say it. The change is definitely happening. And this movement towards envisioning such society, what we are doing is not what we are doing now, it's what we've been doing for years before. And because of the so many number of people around the world talking about this, envisioning this society, we see that change happening on the ground now with big companies like Amar and others. Dear viewers, I want you to all know that the outcome of these interviews that we conduct with such an exceptional people are leading us to envision this society. And by envisioning this society, we always connect what we all as experts talking about it, what would be the ideal foundation of this society. And we came to realize that such society would need to have foundations. These foundations are in form of values that we are endorsing and asking each and every person to endorse it and support us. These are basically 8 values that forms this beautiful society. And these 8 values are inspired from the article of the foundations of the creative society and the stages of its construction, published in May 2020, in the 18th to be specific, on the website of allatraunites.com. You can see it now on the screen. Human life as the first value, human freedom, human safety, transparency and openness of information to all, the creative ideology, development of personality, justice and equality, self-governing society. Now, these are not things that we're dreaming of. These are what we all as interviewers, being an expert sharing such interviews and surveys, agreed on. And in 2 minutes, I'd like to take you quickly through one of these principles. And today we choose the first foundation, the human life. Human life is the highest among all the values. We believe that it's what gives us the value in this life, is that we are alive. And what we do with this life gives us the value after this life. Life of any human being has been and must be protected. This should be the goal of the society. And when we say protected the physical life and the mental life as well, the emotional life. There should not be any compromising on making someone's life in danger whatsoever. We believe of the value of a human life, we mean the value of the people. At every single soul that has the same equivalent value of the other. There is no, in such society, a person more valuable, more important than others. Not based on age, not based on health condition, not based on knowledge. This is how we envision the importance of human life values. And we, from this platform, salute our fighters across the world who are fighting this pandemic, either by supplying essentials to other people or by being the white dressed army in the hospitals trying to save lives, because these people are living the value of human life. They are working hard behind the labs to find the vaccine, or working to help supplying and supply people in the lockdown areas. For those, we really salute them because they are living the value of human life. Please, Annette, help us share your vision on this value. How important is the human life in implementing our society nowadays?
Well, there's really well spoken, Sammy. Actually, kudos to you. That was beautiful. But to elaborate on that, I can't say too much more, but I agree with you. Human life should be at number one because it is so important. Now, I think that moving forward into that creative society, it needs to become priority. Now, what would that look like? That would look like us making sure that our children in Africa and other third world countries that are starving have food. Now, how do we do that? Well, we do that by being aware of, what we're wasting, how we can help. Perhaps that 2 cups of coffee a week could go to a charity. Now, I give to one charity that goes all over the globe, but I also get to know through my networking of other charities. I also watch documentaries that go to other countries, and they're often countries that are third world where they make you aware of what's going on behind the actual TV camera, so behind those tourist destinations. So I think it's really about awareness of how important human life is, and more I'm finding that I want to give more and more and be of service, and I'm looking at ways that I can do that. And I'm sorry, I probably went off track there for a bit, but it's something that I'm really passionate about. Human life, it should be equal. We should all have the right to live in a free society, free speech, and we should be able to live without fearing that we're going to starve, in the next month or two. As a mother, I can't imagine what it would be like to sit there and watch a child die. Now, we know that we have enough money globally to stop the hunger. We need to use our voices and start working out how we can redistribute that wealth. These huge corporations making such amazing profits. I know a lot of them are very charitable, but there's a lot out there that could do a hell of a lot more towards that as well. Me, myself, I like Tony Robbins' theory that he gives 10% of everything he earns. He always has. He said, if you earn $50, you give $5 away. You earn $100, you give $10 away. And you keep doing that no matter how much profit you make. And I think that if we all did that, that would make a huge difference to creative society.
Annette, thank you so much for sharing also these understandings that actually for our society and for the level of our development nowadays, it's not an issue to provide essential life necessities globally all over the world. It's just a question how to do it technically, to do it practically, not to wait until someone will do it for us, but for specialists who have a possibility, like to unite and to create the system how to provide all necessities globally, and it's very easy to do. And I would like to introduce to you and to our viewers the third foundation of the creative society, which is human safety. Actually, I would like to introduce it because you touched the vision of this foundation just now in your description. So the third foundation is human safety. No one and nothing in society has the right to create threats to the life and freedom of a human. Every human is guaranteed free provision of essential life necessities, including food, housing, medical care, education, and full social security. Scientific, industrial, and technological activities of the society should be aimed exclusively at the improving the quality of human life. Guaranteed economic stability, no inflation and crisis, stable and same prices around the world, a single monetary unit and a fixed minimal taxation or no tax. The security of human and society from any kind of threats is ensured by the unified global service that deals with emergency situations. So actually, you touched in your previous statements the topic that it's necessary to guarantee free provision of essential life necessities, including food, housing, medical care, to people around the globe. Actually, Sorry?
You mentioned coffee as well.
And coffee, yeah, sure, coffee, tea, and of course, full social security and uh, security of a human being. Yeah, because if we take human life as the main priority of the society, then of course, altogether we should just unite and think how to guarantee it. So, could you please share more understandings on this foundation, please?
On foundation number 3, which is the human safety.
Yes.
I think you've done a very, very good job of explaining that. I'm not sure how much I could add to that, because that's exactly what I would have thought would be of the utmost importance. You know, human safety is a basic right. You know, we all have the right to wake up with food and fresh water. So envisioning it for the future, how we're going to co-create that, is once again, it comes down to awareness. We need to share in the responsibility and stop leaving it to other people. So we need to, A, talk about it more, B, do something about it. So, I mean, we need to take massive action on this. Now, we can't do it alone, and people have got to get off their they've got to get off their bottoms and actually get out there and see what they can do. We have homeless people in Australia as well. Now, we're lucky in that we have a lot of charities to look after them, but there's still huge gaps, and a lot of mental illness is associated with hunger and poverty. And there's a sense of hopelessness and helplessness. So we need to start empowering people to be through education, definitely education, because if we can educate those closest to those that are suffering, they then can start helping more as well. So it's something that just has to filter down from us, all of us.
Thank you so much. And as you touch the topic of education, it makes part of the 6th foundation, which is a development of personality. And I would like to ask you, could you please share your opinion? How can we as a society contribute into the education of the future so that the 6th foundation or the 3rd foundation, the 1st foundation, is being realized in practice?
Sorry, so are we talking about number 6? Like
number 6, yes. Number 6 is the development of personality.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
It's your favorite, yeah.
Yeah, well, not my favorite, but it's something that I am very passionate about. It's obviously something that I'm working towards. And there's a saying that is one of my favorites, that in order to change your personal reality, you have to change your personality. So it doesn't mean that you have to turn completely into another person, but it does mean that you actually have to change aspects of your personality that perhaps were living in ignorance before, and changing that aspect of your personality into a more positive mindset will have a ripple effect. It will send you on a new pathway. It will allow you to meet new people and open up those horizons whereby you are connecting with other people, as we are now. So I think that the whole development of personality is incredibly important when it comes to a creative society, because if we don't work on ourselves, how are we supposed to help others? So there is an element that what's that saying, that it all begins at home, and it really does. It really does. So I think that it's an incredibly important point that you make in your the foundations, the 8 foundations. I've only recently seen what your campaign is doing, and I absolutely love it. And I'm looking forward to delving into it more, because I think it's a very worthwhile project.
Thank you, Annette.
What an inspiring talk today. And as we are almost approaching the end, we cannot really close before we share with you our own goal. We want to spread this message for as many people as we can. And as you know, people naturally, they form their own communities and their own societies. So people alike, whoever like to dining, they create groups of dining. Whoever like to go desert safaris, they go for groups and identities. So by now, across Facebook, you have a lot of communities. We are naturally creating societies and communities. The question for you is, can you see like-minded people forming a groups that we can approach them and help spread this message faster across the world? We are using everything possible. We are using social media. We are using all the possible module to connection. But from your side, do you see a group or a society of like-minded people that you would like us to approach and spread the message with them, that it will make the message go faster and across wider number of people?
So you're asking me or the audience? Sorry,
Yes.
I missed me.
From your perspective.
Yeah, well, that's a really good question. There are a lot of groups out there, but the first point of reference that I would probably look at is there are a lot of people looking into the effects of climate change. Now, I know there's people that believe in climate change, people that don't. However, we do know that we have certain things that we need to fix in society. These people, they care enough about the planet to really get out there and make a difference. And that would be somewhere where I would start, and connecting with people like that, because we've all got the same vision. However, there are a lot of people that have really stood up to the climate change challenge. So, as I said, whether you do or don't believe it, there are a lot of people that really care about our planet out there, and they're forming groups left, right, and center. There's loads of them. So, yes, I would definitely approach them. Other groups, I would say that there are so many charities out there. So I would possibly look at forming alliances with charities that go global. So, for instance, in Australia, it would be Red Cross. I know that they do a lot of work overseas. I'm not sure what your charities are over in Dubai, but obviously these people really, really care about other people. So they probably have groups or organizations within that organization to go out and help others too. So that would be a definite target market for me if I was marketing the Creative Society. And for me, I'm happy to share on LinkedIn and social media and with my friends, because I think this is a really, really important topic. It's a really amazing vision that you've got, and I'm super excited that I discovered it, because I think you guys are doing an amazing job. Thank you very, very much. I think it's beautiful.
Thank you, Annette. Thank you very much for sharing your ideas, and they are very precious. I would like to, share or make a secret announcement for our viewers and for you, Annette, and for you, Sarmi, that as all the projects on the platform of ALLATRA International Public Movement are being initiated and realized by people themselves, so we are not affiliated to any political or commercial organization. So we have a great initiative which came from one of the participants. She is a principal of the school, and in their school they decided to realize the project Creative Society and to build the Creative Society in their community between teachers, educational professionals, students, and parents as well. And I loved the idea because of course the project Creative Society will be introduced to the educational professionals by the participants of ALLATRA Public Movement. But then they would like to address the school council, the student council. Their children are supposed to bring forward the project, the idea how they envision Creative Society and how they can build such a society in their school, and on which foundations they want to build it. And then they are going to make a presentation to parents. So the idea of the Creative Society will come to the parents from the students from their children. And this is a very interesting initiative. I'm looking forward to its realization. It's just started. It was launched just several days ago, and we are all looking forward. I hope that very soon we'll be able to share the results of this initiative on this platform for our viewers, for you, dear guests. So follow our shows, and I'm sure that will bring a lot of interesting things for you.
That is fantastic, Elena. Really, really fantastic. Because if we can get children when they're young enough and implement these programs in primary schools when they're still young, then they will grow up with that creative vision in mind. Like, it'll be ingrained by the time, you know, children learn the most between those very, very tender ages. So I think that's just fantastic, a really great initiative. And I'd love to know more about that and how that goes. But it certainly gives you ideas, doesn't it, on what you can do in your local community to help co-create that society.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
Creativity is an action. It's truly action. It's not sitting and waiting.
And speaking about action, today's interview has been one of the actions that we've taken to move forward towards visualizing and realizing and seeing this dream happening. Thank you so much for being our guest today, Annette. And thank you, viewers, for being here. And if you've been on the internet for a while, then you know what comes next. Like, subscribe, and share. If you like what we do, and you want to join the creative projects of Allatara International Public Movements, all you need to do is to visit our website, allatraunites.com, where you can see beautiful button in red called Join. You click that button and fill in a very short and crispy survey to get us to know you better, and then share with your friends and participants to invite them to watch our future episodes. Send us your feedback over an email, uae@allatraunites.com. You can participate in these conversations over radio, Allatra Radio, and send us your ideas also if you would like to contribute it without being interviewed. And if you would like to be interviewed, step forward and tell us you exist. We would love to hear from you. Our email is info@allatraunites.com. We can't wait to hear from each and every one of our viewers.
Yes, please, and share our broadcast and your social networks using 2 hashtags, #creativesociety and #allatraunites. And please leave your comments below and also join the 6 Handshakes initiative. After all, the more people find out about the possibility of creating the creative society, the faster we will begin to implement it. Thank you all very much, and see you soon on Allatra TV Middle East.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Annette.
Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone. Really appreciate it.
Looking forward to in person.
Okay.
Yeah.